back to Storytime with Dan Booker. Today we're going to continue on from our readings of Gods and More Gods. And today we're doing Ash. We've done Don. They're all back from their vacation. And it's Ash's turn to see how he does. Ash returned with full understanding of how reliant he was on his people. Time spent at their mountain home had rejuvenated him, but if he weakened too far, he wasn't sure if he could get back there. He decided to use his old persona, the humble god who loved his people. They would have had time to forgive and forget. His cloying nature would charm them back and keep him at full power. To begin this new era of leadership, he approached them with hands wringing, radiating anxiety to please. The first group he met, he begged them to tell how he could assist them. They didn't want to speak to him because of his previous attitude, but out of fear of retaliation, should he feel neglected, they bowed and thanked him, but said they were fine. Wandering around, he received the same answer from everyone. While not overt in their actions, he felt he was being shunned. He went into his temple and sat on his throne and sulked. He peered out the door, hoping someone would come in and possibly just talk to him. In a land crowded with people, he was alone. Suddenly, the realization of why he was there and what he was to do hit him. He ran around looking to see where they had progressed and what he could do to get things moving faster. They had built themselves into a tight community. They had better houses, they had fire, killed and cooked food, farmed. They had increased their numbers to over double what they had been. He admitted it was a good start despite his being gone. He didn't want to consider that it might have been his departure that freed them to grow. Ash watched as people were eating dried beef as if they were growing tired of it. A little variety might make them think better of him. He went over to the basket weaver and asked if he could make a large basket that had an open weave. The man agreed, but couldn't see the use of a basket that would let things fall through. As he worked, Ash went elsewhere to procure thick vines. It wasn't as good as rope, but he'd get someone on that soon. Sitting on the sand, Ash braided the vine and waited. The man brought the basket and Ash tied the vines onto it. "Help me throw it into the water." The man was now even more confused, but he did as Ash asked. The basket went far into the water, and when it sank, Ash and the man pulled it in. The man saw it full of fish and let out a yell of delight. Ash pulled a stone knife out of his belt and prepared the fish for cooking. Ash taught the man how to clean and fillet the fish. People came over to as Ash cooked, and he gave them some to taste. The new taste was a sensation, and everyone wanted to try their hand at fishing. Ash patted the weaver on his shoulder. "Teach others your craft, and when you finish, make some more to hand out, and we'll have more types of food than before. When you feel you have enough baskets, I want you to make me a tight, closed basket, but very, very large." He marked in the sand how large he wanted it, and the man was astonished. What could his god possibly want with a basket as long as a man and half and a third a man high? He promised to have it in a couple of days. "Make sure it's as tight as you can make it. I think you'll like what we're going to do with it." Ash spent the next few days assisting people to the next level. He offered insights into why they were doing things instead of just telling them what to do. People began to seek him out and ask his advice. On the day of rest, people came to the temple and showed him reverence. He felt such warmth from the reverence that surprised him. Ash had never been given respect before, and it made him desirous to see if the feeling could be increased. He was changing in his heart, and his people saw and acknowledged it. They wanted to please their god, since they were working together and they weren't merely his laborers. Ash spent more time interacting, seeking where a god's help could be useful. With his heart and mind opened, he could feel his people's emotions. He was becoming in tune with them. Don appeared and immediately did an inspection tour. His face turned sour when he saw people mingling instead of working. Told them to get back to work, and was even more upset when they informed him that that was what they were doing, and went right back to talking together. One had discovered that the running water from the fall could be caught and used to turn a long piece of bamboo. This could be attached to other things to make them work faster and harder. He had attached the bamboo to a stone to turn it, and he was making flour by the barrelful. The others wanted to see how it could be adapted to their work areas. Don stomped up to a group playing instruments while people worked. Dashing the instruments to the ground, he ordered them to go away and not disturb people who were actually working. They picked up their instruments and recommenced. The man who was beating time on a dried skull informed Don that they were doing so on their god's instruction. It was to relax the people who were working and make their tasks lighter. Ash was walking around when he felt a firm grip on his arm. Turning around, he was shocked to see Don there. "What are you doing? Just taking a stroll? You should be out there getting their asses in gear. We've got a scheduled meeting. You're doing nothing." Ash began to speak, but Don was already moving away and heading over to the basket weaver. The large basket was being led to Ash. Don took one look at it and became even angrier. He stopped the basket's progress and ordered them to put it down. "Hell, nobody needs a basket this big. Total waste of time. You should be doing something productive. What's your excuse for wasting time and resources just to see how big a basket you could make?" The man stammered that his god had requested it. Ash was already running up and stood between the man and Don. "I asked him to build it. We're going to take it out into the water." He had the people take it to the water's edge. While he got the bamboo paddles, he had someone else make. A large crowd gathered to see the new thing. Ash got in and told the weaver to join him. "Everyone push us into the water." They pushed and the basket floated. Ash put an oar into the water and had the man do the same. Paddling together, they went far into the ocean, caught some fish, and came back. With this, you can go out where the fish are and catch more in a short time. With enough of these basket boats, we can even visit other lands and learn from them which things they do better and teach them what we're good at. A roar of approval came from the people, and they carried Ash on their shoulders. Ash had become their god in fact, not just in name. Don was still trying to boss Ash around, and it just wasn't working. In his frustration, he caused lightning to flash, hitting buildings and cattle. Getting close to hitting people until Ash made the clouds disappear and rebuilt what had been destroyed. He raised himself to his full height. Standing proud and erect, he was a head taller than Don. In fact, even Ash didn't even know. He looked down at Don. "These are my people. They are under my protection. You have no right to harass or harm them. We're on a schedule, and we'll arrive where we need to be on time." Memory stirred of a movie he once saw. "Begone! You have no power here." Don, for the moment, was beaten by someone he'd always considered his lackey. Table had turned, but he was determined that they would turn again in his favor. He left it toward Larry's area. There, he would be sure to be needed. He considered Larry God's own idler. All right, that's it for today. So that's it for Gods and More Gods. We're going to continue on after this one with Larry's area, see how Don meddles in that one. So I look forward to seeing you again. I hope you enjoy these. Glad you came by to visit. Look forward to seeing you on the next reading. Be good to yourself. Talk to you later. Bye.